All right.
Hi, I'm Faye McDonald, and I'm here to discuss Celebrate Challenge. It's my social network, and it's responsive as of...
See a keynote.
What do I do?
Keynote is not.
Maybe reopen if you had slides. We're having Mac trouble today, aren't we? Everybody's been hacking away so much their computers just want to sleep.
My computer's so tired.
And it's responsive, thanks to Bootstrap,
Nice.
and Matt helped me. So it'll be, what's also unique about this social network, you don't have to be a user to view content, which is kind of like YouTube. So people will be able to like look at information that users are using to see if they are interested in the product. And then it's going to have a basic layout, more like Instagram inspired, because what makes it different isn't so much how it's used, isn't like the mechanics of it, but the emotional approach, because I myself have a really hard time with my, I myself have a hard time like with my emotions. I'll have like a lot of voices and opinions going off in my head, and I'll get wrapped up and just totally self-consumed. And I find a lot of social network today can be very intimidating because people are just seem to put out positive, 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 and then it's like, am I the only one feeling this way? And it kind of teaches me regress more negative emotions, and that creates this really bad cycle. So I'm encouraging users to be more mindful and human in their social interactions and less commercial. The commercial part is fine, but this is for people who are looking to help themselves and better themselves and establish more sincere connections with people so that they can follow their own desires and feel empowered to follow their dreams despite perceived challenges, and to overcome challenges rather than ignore them, because there is also a fine line, I think, between optimism and delusion. Everyone's like, think positive, and then you express like your negative feelings, and it's like, it's like, I am thinking positive, but I have this negative emotion, and I also have to get it out. Like, I'm not just like this. So I used as my inspiration Robert Munch, because I read about him, and he actually didn't publish his first book until he was 40 years old, and in the first year he sold 3,000 copies. He grew up in a family with 9 children, and he spent 7 years in the priesthood, but he always struggled through school, but always liked writing poetry. And when he was studying in the priesthood, to escape different classes and avoid people because he didn't get along with his peers very well, he volunteered at orphanages and really connected with the children. He knew he liked working with children, and he liked storytelling. And he and his wife worked at a library, and he really liked engaging with the children and telling stories. And his wife encouraged him, you should publish a book. And he ignored her. So she went to his boss and made his boss insist that he publish a book. And then he sold 3,000 copies the first year, and he went on to write like over 50 copies. And he was really unconventional in his approach. Like, another interesting thing I read was he went to schools without making appointments first. Like, he showed up in 1997 and met with the principal. He said, I have an appointment with the grade 2 teacher. He got a grade 2 teacher's name, and the principal said, okay, go in. And he made a letter, like this pretend letter, and showed up at the door, and the teacher was like, oh my God, Robert Munch, like, come in. And then the principal found out it was Robert Munch and was like, actually, there's a grade primary class that just wrote this like thank you letter to you. You had to go in and see them too. So I thought that was kind of cool and inspiring. And then when I read that, I also used Facebook to reach out to my cousin, because his father is a successful car dealer in Halifax, but he himself went through the priesthood and a 7-year education thing, and he had to make a vow of poverty, which everyone was like, your father's a multimillionaire and you're gonna like write that off. And then when it came to it, he decided it wasn't for him. It wasn't the poverty thing, it was just priesthood was not his thing, and he made that decision, like, at the very end. So I shared that story with him, like, if it makes you feel any better, because I admired you for making that decision, because I'm sure it wasn't easy, like, any of it. And he said, thanks, I found that really inspiring. So I really like Robert Munch because he wrote those stories, and he opened up about his struggles with OCD, and he had addictions with cocaine and alcoholism. So I thought that was admirable to see, like, he's working with kids and he's doing so good, but he had still struggles of his own. So for people who are having struggles, like, to know that there's still good in you and you can produce like great things, because I personally like Robert Munch books. So I want to use the internet. People are going to use it. I'm on my phone all the time, but to be positive and use it like because it is a good thing, and focus on the good things that it can do and be more human. So, thank you.
Okay, so there's a great example of storytelling. You tell the story about Robert Munch, and it's like there's so much emotion in that, and you're like, yeah, like people do need a place where they can like share these things that they're going through, and so I think that's a really good job. I think you should, like, there's passion there and there's emotion there, and then if you can like take all that energy and put it into a great solution, then that's going to be a really powerful thing. Can you go back to the slide that had like challenge and two other, gratitude, challenge, desire? Can you explain each of those 3 words?
Well, gratitude, I think it's always important to be thankful and stop to take the time to appreciate what you have. And challenge, no matter what position you're in, like there's challenges if you're trying to achieve anything. And I have observed personally that there's a lot of people who like to dismiss challenge and act like they're more narcissistic and like, well, that's just easy for me, poor you. But I'm like, well, if it's just easy for you, then in my opinion, you're not trying anything hard. Like, you're not that cool. And desire is more like knowing what you want and being able to think, like, go after it, and opening your mind to different things like, oh, I could never go to there, that's too far, I don't have the money. To kind of push those limits away and be like, well, maybe I can, and I'm just going to think it, and I'll arrive there. First step is to kind of believe, like have the desires and acknowledge what you really want based on what you want, not what you feel you're capable of.
Okay, so let's go look at your product now.
I'm really not great at this stuff.
And then the next tab, is this what you see when you're viewing somebody's profile?
Yes, and your own.
Okay, so in the slides you talk about like, let's see if I can get these now, gratitude, challenge, and desire, right? And you tell the story of Robert Munch. And then when I go here, I see like stories, and I see photos, and I see treasure trove.
Yeah.
and I see the person's name, and they have certain fans, and they have so many favorites, and they have these. This is his profile picture.
Yeah.
Yes. So talk about like your vision for the product now. So we've seen like the inspiration behind this, and like talk about where you see this product going and how it's going to like accomplish.
They're going to be forced to use these tags at the end of everything they post. The gratitude, challenge, desire, to summarize the feeling of the story or idea that they're sharing. And then they're also going to, so that'll be like used as a $.
So
And
when you
that's
say forced to use those tags?
like it won't post
Okay.
unless
you have to tag it.
you have to acknowledge
You have to select one of those.
at least one or
Okay.
more to
Okay.
put it up to show like that you've given thought to what you're saying, and it's not
Okay.
like so.
And so you feel like gratitude, challenge, desire, they're like sort of all encompassing in terms of like, those are the 3 feelings that you might be, or one of those 3 will be what you're feeling.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing missing there. I suppose, like, I guess that's, if you're going to give 3 predefined words, then you want to make sure you're not missing anything.
Yeah. So that's
So you've thought about those ones a lot, right? Okay. And then so go back to the application. So they're going to, how does the weatherman, Peter Code,
He didn't make any posts.
How does he
yet.
make a new post?
He'd go into like photos. There's nothing when I click. Anyway, he'd click onto his photos and he'd put a picture of something, then write a comment under it, and however he was feeling, like the weather is sunny, gratitude, and
And that's going to be a photo. or is it going to be like
No, that's
either a
going to
photo
open your
or a
like
story?
photo page.
That's,
So when he clicks there,
Mhm.
it'll like, you'll see all of his photos.
all of his photos, and then stories are different.
Yeah, because that's
should,
if you
should
want
you
to.
combine those? Should it be like stories can have photos and or just be a photo, or like should it just be a post? Or
Yeah, it'll be the photos versus story will be more defined by the characters. Like a story, a picture might have only it will have like a limit of 120 characters, and then a story will just be more words for people who are wanting to share their
so
words.
there's two different aspects to this. I would suggest having one, like just picking one for now, and maybe adding another one later. But you really want to think about like the minimal thing. Like I don't think like being able to do the photo versus being able to do the story is going to be like the big differentiator here. I think like the differentiator is like how people are going to connect over what you're posting. So probably start with one option. It'll be simpler. I think I kind of like the idea of like story, but it does sound a little like too long. So I don't know what the word would be. But stories looks cool. I want to click on that and read the stories.
Yeah, that's more like
What does a treasure trove do again?
the treasure trove is for things that you don't want to make public yet, or if you like. You might see pictures or stories from someone else. You can take it. They don't have notification of that, and then you save it in your treasure trove. So it's kind of like the secret component.
That's awesome. I like that.
I'm just wondering if that should be a little more separate from the photos and the stories as well. I think it's a great idea, but I don't think it's along the same lines as those, because the treasure trove to me sounds a lot more personal as compared to like your photos and your stories, which are still personal, but you're sharing them with people. So the trove is kind of like, these might be the little tidbits of information that kind of, I guess, keep me going, keep me motivated, but I don't particularly feel like publishing them to the world. So I think to conceptually move that somewhere else might be a better idea, so people know that they're kind of dealing with two different things then.
I'm open to any opinions on design.
Can you
So
go back to
attached.
the long
Trove is
page?
my favorite thing of the entire. Like, I wish I had that for Facebook. I wish I had, like, where I
Yeah.
could just capture people's stuff.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And they would never know, but I could like go.
You can just go back and laugh at it later.
Yeah, or like, you know, if it's a photo of somebody that you're really happy to see that photograph. You know, you put it in your trove.
Yes.
So is the name of this is challenge?
Celebrate challenge.
Okay.
And then I tried
So
to bring that
that's
up
definitely
there.
confusing by here.
Yeah, I tried to bring that up there, but it wouldn't go. Like they were like.
So we celebrate challenge.
Yeah,
then
and
they're gonna they have a username.
Like they can search by username or hashtag.
Okay, that's definitely confusing. I think just search.
Okay.
And you want to have search here, not sign up on the front page?
What's that?
This is like the landing page. Like if I go to celebratechallenge.com, I would see this. Is that the idea? You want the search to be like the primary function?
Yes, because you don't have to have a user account to search content.
Okay. Yeah, I think a single search bar.
Okay.
Like, so because username, hashtag, maybe you want to search by keyword later, like whatever, just have one search bar. Yeah. And then really, it's just simpler because the person's making a choice here. Like, if I come to this page and I see username, I think that I'm like creating, like it's my username that I'm gonna put in, and then I see hashtag and I'm like, why am I putting a hashtag? I didn't even sign up yet.
Oh, okay.
Right, so you see how they would get confused. So it's just like you want to have like remove all of the decisions that people are gonna have to make, and like just make it really simple. So they land there, and there's like a single search bar, and there's like one thing to do unless you want to like sign in or create an account, right?
Just when you get a chance and you're sitting down, just look over at Brian's screen, because this always gets right, of course. I think something like that would be really cool. You know,
Yeah, I
like,
like
and then
that.
have the options to log in or make an account, because you can have everything.
And go for one big image. Yeah, I like that
Yeah.
too.
Yep.
Or one big color
It's
block.
very
like,
simple.
your colors are really cool in that it's, indicative of what you're of you and your personality and your brand, not so much on the landing page, but on your presentation. You've got sort of these really vivid, happy, joyful colors. You can achieve the same thing if you didn't want to go with imagery.
Thank
So I can make some kind of post, and I can somehow interact with other people's posts. Like
Yeah,
that-
you'll still have like comments and
You have to get to the one like feature that's gonna make this like initially useful, you know, and kind of start there, and then you've done a good job so far of making it simpler. Like on the profile page, it was only 3 different tabs, and it's not too overwhelming, but like you can get there even more. And I think you should be focusing, I think, quite a bit on that interface that like allows people to create a new post, because I think that's like super important, right?
to create a new post on the opening page.
On where I don't know, like I think I don't know where is it that I go to like create my content?
Oh, to your profile.
You go to your own profile page and you create it there, right? Okay, so go to the profile page again. See, when I'm looking at like this, I kind of assume that I'm like looking at somebody else's profile page, so I would be here to like read their content, and I'm not here to like publish new content.
Oh, okay. I'll probably put like down at the bottom of this will become like a home page, and there'll be buttons along here, like quick add a story, add a picture.
Is there a feed? You mean like there's a public feed where you can pick from those stories and then add them to your profile? Or
I
like
don't
your
have-
stories that you then, like notes in Facebook, like
Your own.
your own notes?
Yeah.
Okay, or your own whatever.
You want it styled like Instagram.
Yeah, it's gonna be like Instagram, cause
So everything's public. Every post that you do is public,
except for your trove.
except for the trove. And in the trove, you can have things that you created, or things that you saved of other people.
So when you go into the trove, it'll be like 2 separate things.
Right.
It's all private.
It's like a little secret area. Okay, so when I search, I'm gonna search all the public stuff. But when I land on this page, I'm also gonna like just see, I don't know, trending posts or something like that. And then when I go to so there's only 2 pages right now. There's like this main page, and then there's the profile page. And the profile page is where I'm going to like view my specific content and create new content.
And I don't know how they're gonna connect with the users yet, because I tried to like imitate Instagram, and it was a lot more complicated than I thought it would be. Still.
Where's the original wireframe at? Do you have those?
I only did like 2 slides for that too.
Okay. I think at this point you should go back to the wireframe a little bit, and just think more about how these pages work together. A good example of that would be like Brian's site and AJ's site. Like they had that front page that you kind of landed on, and then they had that page that you could click into, and it was very clear like how everything functions together. Like I didn't have a lot of questions afterward, and I think that probably came from like the wireframing stage is probably where you guys really hashed that out. So I would like, draw on the chalkboard or the whiteboard or use one of the wireframing tools, and just really like make it super clear in your mind how maybe there's 3 pages, right? But if there's only 2 pages, how do I get from one page to the other page? What are the different tabs within that page? Like what are all those screens like, and how do they really like interact with each other? How do they relate? How does the user move through this? And just a lot of it's visualization, but you can like sketch it out and show it to people and see if it makes sense to them. Like see if the wireframe makes sense to them, right?
Thank you.
Cool. Any other? All right.